No, there will not be any fucking spoilers in this video. Calm down. There will not be any spoilers. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to one of my videos. I'm so sorry that I've been posting so little lately. I promise I will get back on track. I know over the summer I used to post almost, I don't know, twice a week or something when I was doing videos about Tenet, but lately it's just so much shit has been happening. But anyway, I promise I'm back. I'm here, and I want to talk straight off the bat about one of the most amazing TV series that is on right now, which is the Invincible. I wanted to talk about this for ages, and I kept postponing it because I was thinking after which episode should I start talking about it. It's just so much stuff is happening, and I'm happy that I'm doing it now after the latest episode 7, I believe, of. Yeah, I don't know. I have so much to say about this. It's such an amazing series. I really want to recommend this to everyone. Yeah, I just want to let you know why I'm doing this is because I fucking love the series. I want to see more so much. I cannot wait to see more. I'm barely holding on not to read off the comic book. And yeah, anyway, sorry. Let's get back on track. And Invincible. What is Invincible, first of all? Well, Invincible is this American adult animated superhero television series. It's based on the comic book character of the same name, which was written actually by the god himself, Robert Kirkman. And about him I will say just a second. And yeah, it's basically done by Amazon Prime. It launched, I think, end of March in 2021. It has an amazing cast. People like Steven Yeun, Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons. And yeah, many more famous people. It's incredible. The cast is absolutely top notch. It has a lot of comedic talent as well, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, for example. But most of these people you will recognize from Walking Dead, and again, I will come back to that in just a second. But the premise essentially is that at the center of the series we have this sort of teenage boy. His name is Mark Grayson, and at first it seems like he's a normal teenager, but then you realize straight off the bat in the first episode that actually he's the son of the most powerful superhero in the world, Omni-Man, which is something I completely adore. The name is incredible and the character is incredible. And Omni-Man is actually voiced by J.K. Simmons, which is very unusual at first, but then it's like, oh my god, it's perfect casting. But in any case, yeah, so Mark develops his own powers, and then as soon as that happens, shit sort of starts to hit the fan. And yeah, so before I actually explain why Invincible is so unique, I think it is important to start to talk about Robert Kirkman and the whole Walking Dead stuff, why so many people are coming over from that series, and in general, the mood that Invincible has, I think is best translated once I explain who Robert Kirkman is. Robert Kirkman, why do I have such a hard time saying Robert Kirkman? I don't know. Is this dude, absolute legend. He's only 42 years old, actually. I thought he was much older. But in any case, the guy is writing comics, and holy shit. So not only he wrote Marvel's Zombies, which is literally top 3 comic line stories of all time for me. It's incredible, and I highly recommend for you to read it. I cannot wait for Marvel to put it on screen. They just need to grow some balls to do that, because that is heavy rated R, and it is essentially what it is. The premise of the comic is that one infected zombie somehow accidentally teleports to planet Earth, right? And it starts to essentially infest everybody. It bites one person, and then the virus spreads and everybody turns into zombies. But the twist here is that superheroes, once they're bitten, at least most of them, they don't really like become brainless zombies. They maintain their conscience, but they're still hungry, and they have this massive thirst for brains and for flesh. So they sort of become like villains. And it's absolutely fucking incredible, man. Like, you can see Avengers zombies that their mission is literally just to eat as much as they can and then just roam the galaxy. It's fucking beautiful. I really recommend you to read it. But anyway, it's not only that, but he wrote like, actually, I think it was called The Irredeemable Ant-Man, which is a really good comic line story as well for Ant-Man, one of the best probably. But most notably, you know him for Walking Dead. The guy created the whole thing, he wrote it, and of course it was adapted to his TV series, which was amazing for the first 3 seasons and absolutely sucked afterwards. But that's not his fault. And yeah, I think you get the overall mood of what Robert Kirkman does. He does these very violent, gory stories. with very good storylines, very good character development, very good plots, and it's always interesting to look out for, and it's so exciting, it's so fresh. And when I heard that Invincible is being helmed by Robert Kirkman, who wrote the comics, so there was actually a comic called Invincible which ran for almost 15 years. It has 144 issues, as the Wikipedia tells me, and apparently that was very successful, and that's why Amazon turned it into a TV series. And when I read that, I was like, wow, okay, let's delve into it. And then also, I remember lately I got this habit that before I get into the new show, I would go on Reddit dedicated to that show and just read general moods of the people that have seen the series, that are fan of the series, to find out more what the series is about, what is it like. And from all of that I've read, it was a violent superhero series, somehow a borderline between Walking Dead, The Boys, and Avengers, which is a really weird mix for me. And I was bought into it straight away, pretty much. And it's incredible, absolutely fucking incredible so far, and it does not disappoint. And the thing is, when I heard that this is going to be like The Boys, I was a bit scared, because lately I noticed this trend where there is this concept of superhero fatigue, of course, that has been roaming around the internet for a while. And essentially people are saying, oh, we are getting tired of superhero movies, they have less and less to offer now, it's so annoying. And to an extent, I think it's true, but not because there's nothing people can do anymore to create something new and interesting, right, in the superhero genre, but more like people are getting lazy. And I noticed that actually more than with DC, with Marvel, and especially Captain Marvel. I have nothing against Brie Larson, but it's just that movie was so mediocre, like a normal. Trust me, if that movie came out before Iron Man, I would have lost my shit. It's an incredible movie. Wow, so fucking good, so unique. But it's just such a rehashed formula already, and I even felt that a little bit about Doctor Strange, at least the first half of the movie, because it was essentially Iron Man. And I definitely do feel those things happening, but it's not because it ran out of places it can go. It's more like they found this comfortable formula that they keep following, right? And then on the opposite side of the spectra, we have comic book stuff that is just so violent and the complete opposite of what we expect them to do, like at Marvel, for example, right? And The Boys is the best example of that. The Boys is completely batshit. It's 90% satire. It's pure comedy, pure gore, pure violence. You have to turn your brain off to enjoy it. And of course, there are some serious messages and serious stories at some points, absolutely. And I fucking love The Boys. I love it. I cannot tell you how much I love that series, and I cannot wait for season 3. But it's like, you get one or the other. There's nothing in between. And I was worried that Invincible was either going to be one or the other. Like, it was either going to be like Justice League with R rating, basically. That, yeah, it's going to be very serious stories. It's going to be all the same superhero shit, like struggling. And then maybe with some gore, and that's it. Or I was worried, oh my god, this is just going to be another satire comedy, which I would have fucking... I would have fucking swallowed that shit like a bitch, trust me. But it's just... that was mildly inappropriate. Yeah, I just wanted something new a little bit, you know? Maybe I'm a bit spoiled. It's been only, 15 years since we've been into MCU era and thus into, like, the best and golden years of superhero genre. But I feel like finally, lately, we started to get these sort of mixed genre superhero movies. Like, I think that trend sort of was launched with Logan, because that was sort of a western thriller drama superhero movie, right? And then you had Joker, and now we have Invincible, which is, to follow up on what I was saying before, I think Invincible falls perfectly in the middle between being a satire and like a parody of all the superhero movies and the established tropes that they keep following, and between being an actual serious superhero movie with some serious messages about what heroism is and what price being a superhero comes with, you know? Yeah, I know this series is fucking awesome. It's batshit, it's crazy, the plot is incredible. As mentioned before, there aren't going to be any spoilers, and I don't even know where to start and how to. It's hard to talk about the series without any spoilers, right? But the thing is, the best aspect I think of Invincible is that it's completely unpredictable. Even I spoke to people who have read the comics. they say that actually most of the story bits and some of the major ones are changed from the comics. So of course that's the goal of any adaptation of the source material, is to make it unique so that you don't lose half of your audience who already knows the source material. Because if you make a page-by-page adaptation, most of them will not be interested or surprised, you know, they won't be so keen to watch it. But I heard that they made a lot of key changes whilst preserving the spirit of the comics, but I don't really care if they do or not. I just care that the show is good, you know. I don't give a shit how close it is to following the comics. In fact, if it is completely different from the comics, even fucking better, because I heard the comics is great and I cannot wait to read it after the series is done. But in any case, yeah, the series is so unpredictable. The characters are so not black or white, but more like gray, but not even gray. It's like, what I think people really are is a specter. Everybody falls on a certain stage of the specter at a certain day or a certain time of their day. Sometimes you feel really mad, sometimes you may feel joy out of nothing, and oftentimes it's impossible to predict and to expect what the person would do, you know? And this series understands that, and understands that even more, that when you are a superhero, you have so many things to deal with that sometimes it's not just a simple of choice, do I just be a superhero or do I just be a normal person? And can I be a normal person? Can I let people die and ignore my powers? It's not just those questions that we keep seeing over and over and over again in other superhero classic stuff, right? It's more like, how do I make this work for me? What do I want? How can I make sure that tomorrow I don't wake up feeling conscious about any decision I make? And it's about combining the teenage anxiety with the actual like world-threatening issues, and it's an incredible juxtaposition left and right, which feels me so satisfied by being unsatisfied, because I also feel so lost, as I'm sure many people do, and it's so easy to relate to that, you know. But in any case, let's not get into my existential crisis and instead just continue talking about Invincible. Thank you very much. But yes, the characters, it's incredible. You think that one character, that you think they understand what they are, you think you know them, you know, this guy's a classic douchebag, oh, this guy's a classic hero, oh, this guy is just a fucking robot with no brains. I mean, someone probably programmed him and that could be an interesting backstory, but overall there's absolutely nothing to him. No. I would literally argue there is not a single boring character here. And even if you feel like when you watch the first couple of episodes that some characters are completely sidelined and what is even the point of them in the series, trust me, they literally link and come back to every single person they introduced on screen, or at least every single person that they hinted has some sort of value to them or to the story. And I really like that. I really like that they're not just winging it. This series is so polished. It's clear that they knew exactly what they were going for. They have a very fleshed out story in front of them, and they're taking their time to develop it. And the thing is, I would say, if you go on Reddit and you would read feedback from the people who have not read the comics, right, who are just completely new to the series, like myself, when I watched the first episode, it's like, oh, okay, that's classic, I guess. That's cool. Oh, they're swearing. Okay, nice. Oh, I see some blood here. Oh, wow, Jesus Christ, is that his guts? You see some disgusting shit, yeah, but there's nothing surprising per se that is happening until you get to the end. And again, no spoilers, but there's some sort of twist that happens that at first you're like, what? You don't really understand the significance of this, and you just think, oh, that's cool. And then it becomes sort of a slow burn over the next couple of episodes, but it's so worth it. It's such a good fucking slow burn because it takes time to develop its characters, to make sure that everybody has a key role to play that bounces off this twist. And I was worried by episode 3 or 4 that they're introducing way too many storylines, and I was just thinking, I don't want this to become like, ironically like Walking Dead, where they have 5 fucking characters that are not sort of related to each other anymore, and their stories do not intertwine anymore, and we just have to follow each of them and remember what is happening and care for them, but without having too much screen time to actually fall for the characters, you know, and to understand them better. This series makes you feel like that and think that, but then everything sort of comes together, especially towards episode 7, and it's amazing. It's so good, and it brings back people and gives them value even more in the most unexpected ways. Again, it's really hard to talk without spoilers, but it's so worth it. There was one character that was introduced at the beginning, that sort of is not there anymore until late episodes. And even though they fleshed him out pretty well at first, and I thought, okay, that's fine. I'm fine with him being gone. Not that they died, nothing like that. It's just they were sort of, the story ended for them, right? And then they get put back into the show, and I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. But they then give them even more backstory, you know? And it's so unexpected because I wasn't even thinking about this character. And then it makes sense, and they integrate him into the story that I was following all of these episodes, right? Because there is this thread that stems from that twist in episode 1. And again, as I said, everything circles back to it, and it was so satisfying, so good. And I guess my problem is that lately as well, there being these series like Flash that CW puts out, and Arrow, and I actually haven't gotten to Superman Lois yet. But this series create this basically anthology series where each episode becomes its own fucking thing with its own story, and I don't mind these sometimes, you know? I mean, first seasons of Flash was great, it was entertaining, because it was meant to be like a cash cow that you do 20 episodes, 45 minutes each for the whole fucking year, and you just bring stuff from the comics, and you please your audience and shit. But I'm getting a bit tired of that on TV screen, and I want something that has like one strong story that I can follow through without being too distracted and without losing interest sometimes, you know, because if I'm only invested for one episode and one story, it takes also some fucking effort sometimes to just switch on, okay, we move on to the next story and the next and the next. Even though series like Flash, they do have an overarching story over all of the episodes. Yeah, that's true, but still, I wanted a really focused and narrow story, much like The Boys, to be honest. The Boys follows one fucking strong narrative, and it's a continuous thing, and I really dig that. I think that's the best. I think give me less, but with more dense content in it, you know, with more sort of linked stuff, domino effect, one by one. I don't need any intermediaries. I don't need any don't insert some comedy strips in between or some musical episodes. I don't give a shit about other stories. Avengers go to space, Avengers go to underground, Avengers go to an alternate dimension, this episode, and so on, you know. I think that's why I never got into Star Trek. But in any case, Invincible is one concrete, dense, closely tied story, which is fucking pleasant to follow. And again, I think the biggest positive thing is that it's unpredictable. It's really hard to predict where the series is gonna go, and every episode you think, well, what are they gonna surprise us with next? And they still manage to surprise you. And of course, some episodes are more dramatic than others, and there's more sort of serious stuff going on and less superhero-ish, but more human-ish. But I think that's a positive as well, because again, you need to sort of relate yourself to these characters, and the series does it so well. And yeah, it takes risks, and I think that's the second biggest thing, is that this series doesn't give a shit about stereotypes. It doesn't give a shit about your expectations, which is sort of relates to the first thing I mentioned. But it's just so good in subverting expectations and just doing its own thing, you know. It's good that they can take a character that you think you relate to and you think is good, but instead they just go, oh, you think you know this character, you think you enjoy them? Nah, fuck you, get out of here. God, I'm still talking about how unpredictable it is. But anyway, yeah, it takes risks. It takes risks by giving so many dimensions to each characters. Because why is that a risk? I'll tell you why it's a risk. Because when you think you know a character, you obviously think you know what to expect from them, but you also feel like you relate to them. Oh, he's just like me, you know, and he's gonna do things like me. Like, I don't know, I sometimes feel like, oh, this guy's just as stupid as me. He does stupid mistakes like this. I did that before. But then suddenly there comes a challenge that they overcome suddenly, and it's not like it's completely out of the blue. You understand why they did it. It's just such an unexpected situation and such an unexpected action. Did you get caught off guard, you know? And some of the surprises and risks that they take here, some of them did not pay off to me, like one or two, but 90% of the time they completely do, and it's so fucking satisfying. It's so good. In general, they defy the superhero mainstream, I think, and they of course have some classical beats like, oh, let's find you a suit, let's make you a suit, what your name is gonna be, or about how you're gonna balance your teenage life with being a superhero, how you're gonna handle your girlfriend and stuff, what about your secret identity and shit. But it's also superfluous, you know. It's almost like they do it just to just to make sure people know this is a superhero comic, you know? They never focus on all of that too much. Or if they do some really cool shit with it and unique shit. There's one instance, and I don't think it's really a spoiler, but there's one instance when Mark sort of reveals to one person that, you know what, I'm actually a superhero, and I'm sorry I never told you, but this is what it is. And that person is like, bitch, I knew that ages ago. What are you talking about? You think I'm dumb? Come on. And it's like, wow, okay, that makes sense, I guess, because it's so obvious, and he looks exactly like him, you know, and it's quite funny. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really, really nice. The thing is the casting. I mean, I think all animated stuff have great voice acting. I mean, not all of the animated stuff, but all the big things you've heard about, like most of the DC animated stuff, most of the good Marvel stuff, because mostly Marvel animated stuff is completely shit. But because there's voice actors who, of course, do so many voice acting, do so much of it, they obviously become professionals. So if you hear if you hear someone voicing your favorite character in an animated series, like Batman, for example, but you've never heard that person before, like you don't know what their name is, it doesn't mean they're bad or something. It's just voice actors. Of course, they don't get so much publicity as unless it's of course Mark Hamill or what's his fucking name? Oh my god, why am I freezing on his name? The guy from Last of Us. What's his name? What's his fucking name? I hate myself right now. How do I forget? I never forget his name. He's Troy Baker. It's such a unique name. How could I forgot? Anyway, there are a couple of exceptions, right? But normally, I don't know. I never have any issues with any. I never have any issues with any voice acting. And sometimes, of course, when you have people from the screen, you know, like visual artists, not visual artists. Are actors visual artists? I never thought about that. But anyway, big screen actors, right, or small screen actors, the one to act in front of the camera, they're not always that good in voice acting, because voice acting is still a bit different. But here, completely worked. Completely fucking worked. It's incredible. And I think Steve Yeun as the, you know him from The Walking Dead, of course, but him as Mark as a teenager is perfect, absolutely fucking perfect. It captures it so well. I always get surprised how just by a voice you can transmit so much energy, so much emotion, so much story even, you know. And J.K. Simmons as well is doing a terrific job. He feels a bit like drugged, like he's very calm and very stern, and is never giving out too much emotion. But that's a part of his character, to be honest, and so that works completely fine. But yeah, I don't know, it's incredible. And I mean, the whole one of my favorite stories, and I never thought I would say this, because normally I completely fucking hate governments in superhero stuff. I completely fucking hate it. Of course, the only exception would be in MCU when the whole Sokovia Accords happen, because sort of the government becomes like not an antagonist, but like a problem for superheroes, and that there they play an actual like really good role. But other than that, I fucking hate it. I really hate politics in superhero movies and government involvement. It's always stupid. It's always superfluous. It's so artificial, and it never feels natural. It just feels dumb to me, you know. But here it's, oh my god, it's incredible. It's probably one of the favorite bits for me in the series. No lie, like seriously, maybe even more favorite than the action itself. And in this series, there is this guy who's like a head of a secret division from the government that deals with superhero stuff and all the extraterrestrial stuff. So essentially everything that is abnormal, he deals with it, and his name is Cecil. The character design is super weird. Yeah, he's like he has a fucking he's bald, but he also has oh my god, why do I keep forgetting shit today? It's so fucking annoying. What do Australians guy have? Like, what is it called? Rednecks have it. A mullet. There we go. A mullet. Holy shit. So he has like a mullet, but he's bald, and it's fucking hilarious. But trust me, this guy is a serious badass. And I never thought that a fucking governmental agent, not a superhero, not a supervillain, but a governmental agent would be my favorite character. And I do not bullshit you, and especially after the latest episode 7, he is my favorite character. It's incredible. He's so fucking good in his show, and he's so, again, unpredictable, and you never know what this guy's gonna do. He's completely ruthless, and he has his own agenda. His agenda is Earth is the most important thing that we have, and we have to protect it at any cost. I don't give a shit if God himself turns out to be the biggest threat to the world, and he says, I'm gonna snap my fingers and the whole thing is gonna come out of existence. Cecil will do anything to stop that. He is like, I don't know, he's like a fucking Cerberus, man. He is Earth's best protector. Trust me. And the way he develop him through the series is amazing. Without actually him doing much and saying much. Not that he doesn't do shit. No. It's just he doesn't appear too much in the series as compared to other characters. But when he does, it's always so impactful. It's always so fascinating. I love his interactions with other characters, especially with Omni-Man. You never know what this guy has up his sleeve, and he's not a guy to be meddled with. He's a normal human, but he has so many things up his sleeve that he's gonna give everyone a fucking go. And he's voiced by Walton Goggins, which may not sound familiar to you, but he is the guy who was in Hateful Eight. He was in Predators, which I really actually enjoyed. You will know him from Ant-Man 2. He was the main baddie there, the guy who was torturing. I forgot all the fucking names. Ant-Man's friend, who's Mexican. I'm sorry, I don't know what the one played by Michael Pena. Oh, what is wrong with me? How am I recording a fucking... Okay, never mind. I'm so shit. I'm recording a fucking podcast about movies, and I don't know anything about movies. Not a podcast, actually. Is it a podcast? Well, technically it's uploaded on YouTube, and I'm not doing any videos, so I guess it is a podcast. Never thought about that. But anyway, yeah. So even the fucking government in this series is fucking amazing, and it's so good to watch. It's so pleasant. It's so eye-watering at times, honestly, and the series is essentially almost perfect to me. Of course, some people again will say, oh, there's so much human drama, there's so much development, do we really need this, do we really need that? And I would say yeah, there's a slow burn that completely pays off, and I haven't regretted a single second of it. Of course, some episodes are better than others, for sure. But I'm telling you, the latest episode was almost like a 10 out of 10 for me. And from what I hear, there's just more shit to come, and we haven't seen anything yet. And I cannot wait for more, and it's so exciting to me, yeah. And yeah, do I have to mention that again? Gore, the violence, I would say this is borderline as violent as The Boys, if not more so, to be honest. Like, seriously. I know Boys have a lot of explosions and blood, but you don't really see much. You know, you don't actually see guts flying out that much and somebody ripping a heart out and holding it out, you know. You don't see that much of it. You see blood, of course, you see some explosions, broken bones, and torn faces from time to time. So, I don't know, it's hard for me to tell, but at least I'm saying there's at least as much violence, or at least as intense in terms of the violence itself in Invincible than in Boys. Only here, it's not used for a satire, right? It's not used for oh my god effect and nothing else. Here, it's all solidified by the story, by the characters, by the development of the plot, and it's so fucking good. I cannot wait for more. I am so annoyed that we have to wait every week for one episode, and after that we're gonna have to wait at least a year for season 2. And from what I'm told as well, the series is gonna run at least for like 4 or 6 seasons, you know. So I don't know. It's such a good series. It completely subverts expectations. It completely destroys superhero fatigue stuff. There is no superhero fatigue. It's not gonna come for ages, and we're so far away from it. And I'm so happy about it. Of course, we're gonna get some classic boring superhero stuff, but if you are bored of modern superhero movies, you have to check out Invincible. It's so fucking good. Please do. Honestly, I feel like at this point I'm just lobbying people to watch it because I'm a little bit scared that not enough people are watching it, so they might cancel it. Honestly, when I go on YouTube, I really don't see any of the big YouTubers talk about it. Some of them might acknowledge it, but not a lot of them talk about it, and it's really baffling to me because, again, the cast is top-notch. It's like A-tier level actors, A-tier level producers, writers, creators. I'm sorry, guys from Walking Dead, are you kidding me? Again, only first 3 seasons were great. But yeah, please fucking check out Invincible. I beg you, and if you have done so already, please fucking tell me what you think about this, because I need to talk to someone about it. I'm tired of talking to random strangers on Reddit, so let me talk to random strangers on YouTube. Yeah, make sure to comment, please, and tell me what you thought about the series. Are you excited? Who your favorite character is? If you have seen, if you have read the comics, please don't fucking spoil anything. Don't write anything. I beg you. Please don't ruin the experience for me or the other people. But yeah, I think this is it for me for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, since I think this is essentially a fucking podcast, but whatever. If you like this video, like it on YouTube, because that's gonna help me understand you enjoy content like this, and I will post more soon. And thank you guys, and have a good day, and thanks for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one.